What's up, you guys? SimWolfHero here today, and I'm here with another video for you guys back again on the channel. I am here with a speed build for you guys. Obviously, we've been doing a lot of stuff on the Starfall mansion, which if you guys haven't seen that build series, you guys can go ahead and check out the previous videos. Link will be in the description below. But this one, I just decided to do a little something different. I decided to go ahead and make something that I've been wanting to make for a good while now. What I decided to go ahead and make was what I am calling, and as you guys can probably see on the screen, I'm calling this the Gigabyte Gamers Lair. Yes, the Gigabyte Gamers Lair. Essentially what this was an idea that I came up with a while ago. I know that probably a bunch of other people have actually done something similar to this. I actually have already done something similar to this in a different capacity. If you guys did not see that video, it was part of the Super Collaboration Mall. I will try and also include that in a link or in a card somewhere here. If you guys would go ahead and like to enjoy that, you can definitely go ahead and check it out. I made something similar to it, but only in a retail kind of sense, to where you can actually purchase these stuff and, you know, actually use it if you want to, and it was free and open to the public. But in this case, what I decided to go ahead and do was make an actual lot for it. So essentially what happened with the whole get-together expansion pack that was released a little bit ago, we have the ability to create clubs, which is probably one of the cooler things that they've added to the whole Sims 4 franchise as of late. I'm very happy that they added that. At first, when they announced the whole get-together expansion, I wasn't really 100% too sure of how it was going to be, if it was going to be more late night-esque, or if it was just going to be something completely different. And it has bits and pieces of late night in it, and if you don't know what late night is, then this channel is too young for you, bro. Late night was an expansion that I believe started back as date night, or it was hot date back in the Sims 1 days, and later in Sims 2 it was the late night expansion. Sims 3 was also called late night. It added a lot of cool things that you can do specifically at night, hence the title of the expansion. But in this sort of sense, the get-together expansion was something close to it, although I don't think it's actually hit that mark. But still, it introduced a lot of really cool things that we can actually do with our Sims, including clubs, which is really cool. So what I decided to do was I actually tested out this idea prior to actually making this build. I made a club, I made a place for them, and I tried it out, and it worked completely cool. And the reason why I'm saying that it worked then is because when I was making this build, it wasn't working. And I'll explain a little bit more in that in just a moment. Pretty much what this build was inspired by was a bunch of games that I played when I was in middle school and high school. Essentially, I was involved with the whole drama club crowd, and I love those drama people. They were probably one of the closest people that I had at that stretch of my life, which was great. But at cast parties, we played a game. We played a bunch of different games. Band people and drama people are very close related to each other, so if you were either in band or in drama, you know of such games at these cast parties. Yes. One of the main games, because we were all kind of a little bit nerdy in that sense, we played a game called Dungeons and Dragons. And again, if you don't know what Dungeons and Dragons are, this channel is also too young for you. Dungeons and Dragons was a game that is obviously one of the most popular, I want to say, tabletop games back in the early, I want to say about the early to late 90s, early 2000s. Was probably one of the bigger games that a lot of, I wouldn't want to say geeks played, but I can't really explain what type of people played it other than that. But no, I played it too, so I'm still a little bit of a geek. And I'm making Sims videos because I enjoy it, so if that tells you anything about me, you know, there you go. But that's kind of what inspired this build. I wanted to do something that was almost kind of had that medieval sense about it, but without losing the charm of The Sims. And obviously, since The Sims 4 is very stylized in its approach, there was a few things that I added and a few things that I took away from that game. Some of the things that I took away from the game was obviously the whole medieval aspect. That's why we have a lot of those cobblestone kind of things and a lot of those black bricks around the place, which look very, very cool against those walls, and I'm very, very happy with it. Obviously, the colors are very dark in this build, but again, that was intentional just because most of the light is coming from some of the objects that are in there. This whole building has kind of that whole black color palette, also with a purple color palette, because I've never done anything really, really over the top different sort of color, so I decided to go with purple, even though it's kind of more of a muted purple, but it still looks so cool. Now, as you can see, as we're getting into the build here, we already made the shell of the building, which was really an interesting shape. Obviously, I wanted to do something not in the sense of, oh, this is a huge prison from medieval times. No, I wanted to do something more along the lines of an actual club area. And when I think of stuff like this, I think of one of the places in town. I can't remember the name of the place, but in my town we actually had a place similar to this. I think we actually still have a place in town like this, but we had a place similar to this where the building was sort of this shape, and it was along a couple of other buildings. So pretty much what I did was took that front of that building and kind of expanded behind it, just because most of the buildings here in my town are sort of old, but still, I mean, it looks really cool the way it is. Again, as you can see, what we're adding in here, a lot of dark tones to the whole entire build, a lot of blacks, and again, here I am searching for some of the purple. I was going to go with like a really bright purple, but out of the fact that I'm thinking that wasn't going to look really too good, so what I did was decide to go ahead and kind of go with more of a subtle purple, almost kind of a changing into the area of maroon almost, but it looks very cool, and I very much like it because it has also those baseboards and the ceiling boards at the top of it, which makes it look quite interesting, and I'm very happy that I decided to do that. Most of the landscaping in here, there wasn't too much landscaping because I didn't want the landscaping to take away from the actual build itself. So there's 2 fountain areas, and then of course we also have some sort of landscaping out of the back and on the front of the building, and I believe we also include a tree out the front too. Okay, and now we get into the main issue that I had with this build. God, there was an issue while doing it. Here's the thing. When I make my builds, for the most part, I go ahead and have a sim own the lot and build upon it that way, just because I like having my sims test my buildings to make sure that it works, because obviously I wouldn't want to build something that doesn't work, put it up on the gallery for you guys, and then, you know, have it come out later, people saying that no, it doesn't work, blah blah blah. So in order for me to go ahead and try and kind of skip over those comments, I make sure to play test my house before I put it up on the gallery, just to make sure that everything works well for you guys. The one fatal flaw that I made when I was actually making this build was the fact that I did not have a sim own the lot when I was making it, and that was a choice for a couple different reasons. One, I already had a sim in my world who actually had a club for just this reason, and 2, well, really there's no 2, but still, that was the main reason. I just didn't have, I had a sim already ready with a club of their own and everything. So what I did was I made the house, I made the building that you will see here, but some of the things change. Now really and honestly, the only things that change in this build was the addition of a couple of items. Those items include, I believe, a waste disposal bin out the side of the house, a couple bar stools, and I believe I replaced one table in the kitchen area with 2 tables, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But that's essentially the only thing that changed in here, and also the actual lot type. And that was a main issue that I had. So when I was making the build and got done with the build, I saved it, obviously, because my computer has been having issues with recognizing save points or something, so I really did not want to have to deal with it again. So I saved the build a couple different times, and saved the game a couple different times as well, but I saved the actual lot and everything. After the fact, I had my sim come from one of the houses nearby, and then I had him go ahead and test it. Now, I was able to get into the build fine and everything, not an issue at all. I believe I labeled it first as a residential lot. Here's the thing, when you make a club in The Sims 4, you have the ability to go ahead and set their place of meeting. So you can have it as none, which I believe you can meet anywhere you want, essentially. You can go ahead and meet at specific places, which would be places like, you know, your house, a specific type of venue, stuff like that. And then the last option, I believe, is an option to where you can meet at any sort of place, like any retail lot, any spa, any gym, any stuff like that. Unfortunately, I believe this. Here's one of my main complaints, and I really hate complaining because I love this game to pieces. When you make a club, there isn't actually a feature to place a lot with essentially there's no club type lot. Okay. Obviously, I believe that might be for a couple different reasons. Number one, probably just meaning with the whole clubs that's already out there, like a nightclub, it would get kind of confusing. But that's my main reason why I think that they didn't name it that. Here's the thing: when you make a club, like an actual meeting place, stuff like that, the sim doesn't actually have anything to recognize it as, so it just thinks it's some sort of generic or residential lot, which is fine because you can still actually do that. Only problem with it is, I believe, is that you have to actually own it. Now, as though my sim did not own it and I didn't have him own it either way, that was one of the main issues. It just wasn't working. So I changed it from the residential lot, thinking, okay, if I set it as something else, maybe it'll work. So I set it as a generic lot. The generic lot doesn't actually have any requirements to actually make it a full build that you can put on the gallery. So I tried to do that, and then I have my sim host meetings on there, and there wasn't an option to set the type, the lot type on the club management, because in the club management you can go in, there's a specific option that you can hit to choose a different lot, and it wasn't popping up. And when I pressed none in the club management, I went to go into their little thing and start a gathering, and then it said, I believe it said something along the lines of, you cannot have a meeting here for some sort of reason, who knows what it was. But I was kind of frustrated with that because I'm like, that's not working right. Now again, I might be completely doing something wrong. Again, it might just be the fact that my sim doesn't own the lot. I haven't tested it as of right now, as of this recording. So I'm not really sure what the issue is. So if you guys have any sort of fixes for that, let me know in the comment section below. If there's any sort of fix for, you know, clubs, again, it might just be one of those things where you have to actually own the lot. So maybe there's a way that I can set it as a retail lot, buy the retail lot, and then set it as some sort of generic lot. I don't know. Maybe I can just set it as a retail lot and only have specific people in. And that's one of the main issues that I had to incur. So what I did to fix it was I actually set this as a bar lot. Now, that's kind of where the area is where I think that Sims is still a little bit broken. When I go to a bar and I classify a bar as a place where you would want to get the beverages of the alcoholic variety, but again, this is Sims, so obviously the juice variety. So that's what I think. But the requirements for the bar are kind of broken, I think. You don't actually have to have a bar for a place to be considered a bar, and that's kind of a little bit, what? Okay, sure, why not? So essentially what I did is I just set this as a bar lot, and it worked fine. The only issue that I have encountered with actually having it set as a bar lot is the fact that I set it as a bar lot, but I only allow people, because there's only one door to this build, I only allow people who are my club members in. So they're the only ones who know the secret knock, they're the only ones who are able to get in, blah blah blah, etc, etc. But even with it set as a bar, I have people outside the front door trying to get in, which is kind of cool in a way, because it looks like, oh, my club is so extravagant, they're so exclusive, we're the only ones who are able to do things, etc, etc, etc. But in that sense, I believe it's kind of broken because I don't actually have a way to actually set my place as an actual club. So, Sims team, I hope you guys can fix that. That'd be cool. It's a minor thing, you know, I guess a lot of people wouldn't really complain about it, but, you know, that's my gripe, I'm gonna stick to it. But, other than that, the build was pretty fun to do. I have no real complaints. This was actually a really fun build to do. I've been doing a lot of stuff with the whole Starfall Modern Mansion that I really haven't been able to focus on kind of the smaller things. And one of the things that I wanted to do ever since the game introduced the Get Together series was make clubs. So this is probably one of the first clubs. There should be a couple of other clubs. Obviously, most of these clubs are based on the activities and things your Sims like to do. Once you create them in the cast menu or by other filthy means, quote unquote cheating. Other than that, it goes by the Sims wants and the aspirations that you actually have for them when you create them. Now, it also goes by the skills that you make. So the club that I made, for this actual lot is a video game club. So essentially, what they like to do is they like to play the arcade machine. They love to play video games on the computer. They love to do hacking. They love to do programming, stuff like that, which is really cool. And I think they dislike being mean to people because being mean to people kind of sucks. So essentially, that was my whole experience with the club thing, and it worked out great. I had meetings at my house all the time because I had a designated room for clubs and stuff, which is cool. But yeah, other than that, I mean, that's pretty much my whole idea when it came to this build. I just wanted to build a clubhouse for my Sims to play video games in, because most days, you know, I just think back to when I was a kid and I took my PlayStation stuff, or my friends let me borrow their Xbox, and we would all gather in a 6 to 8 person thing and do LAN parties. This is the part of the show where if you don't know what LAN parties are, you are too young for this channel. So we used to do a bunch of LAN parties, connecting our Xbox's stuff up back in the day when it was still the Xbox and not Xbox One or Xbox 360, the original Xbox. And we used to just play games, huge campaigns of Halo and stuff like that, which was really fun to do. So much fun at those LAN parties. So much fun. Yes, I know, I am a geek. Get used to it. Those were the funnest things to do back when I was a teenager. I'm a young adult apparently by the government standards. So yeah, that's essentially what happened, and that was kind of the idea I had when I was building that. So as you guys could already seen, I created that little hangout area with 8 computers. Now the reason I did 8 computers is for the fact that in your club there's only the ability to have 8 people at a time in a club. You start out with 3 spots unlocked, I believe. 1 spot is yours, and I believe you might have either 2 or 3 spots extra I still think it might be only 2 to where you can invite people to join your club. And later on, with perks and everything, you have the ability to get more and more spots. And so that is great. After that, I made that little area just for seating and stuff, just where people could talk a bit. I also wanted to include the detective career. Oh, what is it? I forget what they're called. I swear I do. The detective career kind of wall that flips up and down. I forget what it's called, but anyways, you can tack stuff on there. The reason why I wanted to do that is because in the fact that in the game you actually have the ability to make to actually enter tournaments. So I kind of wanted to think that as a place of where you guys can have, this is our strategy for this game, this is our strategy for this game, this is our strategy for this game. Obviously, most of the games that are involved with the playing of the video games skill is, I believe, just EA titles and Sims titles, which is funny to me, that they have like a for Sims Forever like tournament. I swear. But yeah, that was a nice part. My favorite part of this build by far is actually the one that you're seeing right now, is this little kitchen area, which was so much fun to build. It's very compact, but it's very, very powerful. Has your standard grill top, whatever you want to call it, stove. That's the word, I can't think. Stove that I believe came with the, oh, which pack was it? No, it was a game. It was a game pack. It was the ice cream pack. Pretty much, it was the pack that introduced the ice cream. Obviously, I also have a popcorn maker in there from the movie stuff pack. A lot of packs were involved in this, so if you guys don't have a lot of the stuff packs, some of these items would get replaced. The main pack that you guys would need to actually have this work would be the new pack with the actual, I'm losing it. The actual pack with Get Together. That's the thing that I wanted to say. But other than that, the kitchen area was probably one of my favorite things to do. And then the only thing that we add at the end here is a little side table with 8 slab lids, because obviously we can't say the other word because it's probably copyrighted somehow. I don't know. And then the only other things that we add is the focusing lights that we got from playing all the expansions of The Sims 3, because I had all the expansions of The Sims 3 because it was great. Other than that, that was about it. We should be getting into the screenshots here in just a little bit. Anyways, guys, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please go ahead and leave a like. If there's something that you wish I could change, or if you guys found out a way to actually fix the whole issue that I'm having, leave it in the comment section below. I love to hear your guys' ideas. Also, want to hear your guys' ideas on future builds that I can do, because obviously I want some ideas. It would help. As you can see here, my guy here playing on the arcade machine, so cool when you have all 4 players on that thing. Is so awesome. And obviously the kitchen here and some of the bathrooms, and then we'll have a whole sky view coming up above so you can see what the finished product looked like. And I'm very much happy how it looks. I just hope that it works good. Anyways, guys, you can find this on the gallery as of right now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.